And now Keir Starmer is in China. He's in Beijing and he's there with his team. They will have burner phones and burner laptops. This is in an effort to stop being spied on during their trip. And this trip follows the approval of a new Chinese embassy in London. And Keir Starmer is under pressure from back home to raise several difficult subjects with Xi Jinping, including China's espionage activity. What are your thoughts around this trip and burner phones?
Oh, well, it just goes to show that the folly in so many of these Western governments, including Keir Starmer, chasing the golden goose of China, the big China dollars. The big picture for Australia is, there is a Commonwealth of Nations. There are a community of nations in the world which account for almost $10 trillion in combined GDP, which have historical ties with the United Kingdom, which have deep friendship and cultural ties with the United Kingdom, which he could be pursuing trade with. And what he'll find is that it's much easier to engage in trade with a friend than it is to engage in trade with countries that they themselves acknowledge are high risk, to the point that they're not using their own devices. They're using burner phones. It's absurd.
I'm going to talk to you about Spain. Spain has begun legalising 500,000 undocumented migrants in a move the government says will blunt the rise of the far right. So to qualify, migrants must prove that they were living in Spain for at least 5 months before December 31, 2025 and show that they have no criminal record, and then successful applicants will be granted 1-year residence permits with the options to renew. The People's Party leader has warned that this regularisation will actually increase the pull effect and, of course, overwhelm public services. Do you agree with that?
Undoubtedly. I mean, if you want a better example of the kind of elitist, out-of-touch, technocratic leadership that is so common in European countries, just look at Spain right now. The idea that arbitrarily changing the legal status of 500,000 migrants will somehow solve the problem is absurd. Of course, it will. This just effectively adds to the incentive structure, which is bringing people in. So this is... And I have to take issue with this idea that they're doing this to blunt the rise of the far right. No, that is completely dishonest and disingenuous. This is not a far right concern. Mainstream people are concerned when their borders are not controlled. They're concerned if 500,000 people or however many people are in the country and who are not meant to be there.
Yeah.
So this is a mainstream concern, and I just find it so telling that the Spanish government would come out with this approach, essentially antagonising the mainstream concerns of the people rather than trying to do something which will actually represent their concerns.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Just finally, Russian state TV is issuing a chilling warning to Europe, with pundits boasting that Moscow could strike any part of the continent with impunity. On his show, The Evening with Vladimir Solovyov, Kremlin propagandist, seized on Donald Trump's comments around Greenland, claiming that Europe no longer has the protection of a US nuclear umbrella. So he even floated a Russia-US alliance and told viewers that Russia could hit Europe and Americans wouldn't retaliate, as questions grow over NATO's future. What do you make of this? How concerned should we be?
To be honest, not. I mean, this is as you say, it's a propagandist on Russian television, sort of making the case for a big, strong Russia. And countries engage in saber rattling all the time. They want to look big. They want to look imposing. What it is a reminder of is the need for countries themselves to form an independent and effective deterrent option and not rely on countries like the United States. The United States have been underwriting the security of the European Union and the United Kingdom and Australia, for that matter, for decades now. And we have to be conscious of the fact that, whether that defence from the US will come through for us, it may be dependent on other extraneous circumstances. Maybe it will depend on who the president of the day is. We need to form an independent deterrent ourselves. In Australia, defence spending is still stuck at 2% of GDP. We have to get moving now. We have to build the defence capabilities in order to provide our own strategic and defence deterrence, so that we're not relying on other people to come to our defence.
Yeah, absolutely. Morgan Begg, Director of Research at the IPA, thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure.